Number 10. Brandon Moreno fights in the UFC Flyweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 13 wins and 3 losses. He made his UFC debut against top 10 UFC flyweight Louis Smolka at UFC Fight Night 96, where he defeated him by submission via a guillotine choke in the first round. He last faced Ryan Benoit at the Ultimate Fighter 24 finale, where he won the fight by a split decision. With the UFC Flyweight division needing new faces, Brandon Moreno is an exciting fighter and has what it takes to become a serious contender in 2017. Number 9. Alexa Grasso fights in the UFC Strawweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 9 wins and no losses. She is a young prospect in the UFC Strawweight division who always puts on an exciting fight. She made a UFC debut against Heather Jo Clark at UFC Fight Night 98, where she won the fight by a unanimous decision. She is a well-rounded fighter and definitely has all the tools to be successful in the UFC in 2017. Number 8. Jimmie Rivera fights in the UFC Bantamweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 20 wins with 1 loss. He is one of the most underrated UFC bantamweights in the division. He has defeated all of his competition so far quite easily. He last defeated Uriah Faber by a unanimous decision at UFC 203. He is a well-rounded fighter and has the potential to challenge for the UFC Bantamweight title in 2017. Number 7. Jessica Andrade fights in the UFC Strawweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 15 wins and 5 losses. She has finished all of her fights since dropping down to the Strawweight division. She last fought Joanne Calderwood at UFC 203, where she won the fight by submission via guillotine choke in the first round. She has shown in her fights that she is too strong in the Strawweight division and definitely will be challenging for the UFC Strawweight title in 2017. Number 6. Mike Perry fights in the UFC Welterweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 9 wins and no losses. He has looked great ever since he joined the UFC, finishing both Hyun Gyu Lim and Danny Roberts in spectacular fashion. He is an aggressive fighter and has the potential to do big things in the welterweight division. If he continues to win, he could be facing a top 5 welterweight in 2017. Number 5. Misha Sakunov fights in the UFC Light Heavyweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 13 wins and 2 losses. He has finished all of his opponents in the UFC and has shown that he is ready to face a top 10 UFC Light Heavyweight. He last defeated Nikita Krylov by a guillotine choke in the first round at UFC 206. With the UFC Light Heavyweight division looking slim with contenders, Misha Sakunov will definitely make noise in the division and definitely will progress in the UFC Light Heavyweight rankings in 2017. Number 4. Francisco Trinaldo fights in the UFC Lightweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 21 wins and 4 losses. He has put together a 7-fight winning streak and has looked great inside the octagon. He last defeated Paul Felder by TKO doctor stoppage at UFC Fight Night 95. With a 7-fight winning streak, he definitely deserves to be fighting a top 10 lightweight. I believe he will work his way up in the rankings and definitely will be in title contention in 2017. Number 3. Francis Ngannou fights in the UFC Heavyweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 9 wins and 1 loss. He has defeated all of his opponents impressively in the UFC and definitely must be getting the attention of the UFC heavyweights. He last defeated Anthony Hamilton by submission via a Kimura lock in the first round at UFC Fight Night 102. He is definitely a threat in the UFC Heavyweight division and I believe he will do big things in 2017. Number 2. Lando OBrien fights in the UFC Lightweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 9 wins and 1 loss. He has looked spectacular with his movements and his striking inside the octagon and has shown that he belongs in the UFC. He last defeated John Makdessi by a wheel kick in the first round at UFC 206. He is a special talent and I believe he will make his way through the UFC Lightweight rankings and will become a serious contender in 2017. Number 1. Robert Whittaker fights in the UFC Middleweight division and holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 17 wins and 4 losses. Since moving up to the middleweight division, he has looked unstoppable, putting together a solid 6-fight winning streak. He last defeated Derek Brunson at UFC 101, where he won the fight by TKO in the first round. I believe he is 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot and definitely has the tools to win the UFC middleweight title. I believe he will probably get a title shot in late 2017.